tryna take.
Let's grind.
We ain't come to play. We ain't come to play. Them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't come to play. We ain't come to play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Let's grind.
We ain't come to play. We ain't come to play. Them dogs in your face. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape. Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro.
The tape.
UGA game day, boy, we ball out. Pull up, put the whole conference in the doghouse. Leave them 6 feet, see me on the win streak. All-star status, go coach, and the bench deep. Offense on 10, how we run it? Your best ain't nothing, we gon' send them boys punting. Black and red, got them dead on arrival. Defense hunkered down for the tie. Hey, you don't want it with the dogs. Found guy on it, you don't want it with my dog. Break it down, play by play, that's the day-to-day. They know we ain't come to play, boy, it's UGA. Kirby Smart, I cannot play the fool. Back to back, we did not come to lose. Back to back, like we got something to prove. Pay your dues, dog nation on the move. What's up?
We do a little bit different around here.
We ain't come to play, we ain't come to play. Shut up and grind the tape.
The tape. The tape.
We ain't come to play, we ain't come to play. Them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't come to play, we ain't come to play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Shut up. Let's grind.
We ain't come to play, we ain't come to play. Them dogs in your face. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The
Shut
tape.
up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro.
grind.
Grind the tape, bro.
grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro.
Shut up.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to MBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up? You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in to the Film Guy Network on a fabulous Tuesday evening here on the network. As usual, we got a loaded one for you. Couldn't believe it. Actually, I should have believed it. We had almost 1,000 people last night watching this here broadcast and this here network in the midst of a college football game. Now, granted, that sucker was a snoozer. We're going to talk about it tonight because absolute yikes from Bill Belichick in his college football debut. We got preview and predictions on a Tuesday night for you guys. Got 4 or 5 really good football games coming up this weekend that we want to talk about. A new AP poll just dropped. We got our thoughts and reactions on that as well. We're going to talk about whether or not it is too early to be having fire him conversations out there in Tuscaloosa. Lord knows they're already starting up. Brian Kelly and Dabo Swinney took some shots back and forth at one another today as well. We got a loaded show for you guys. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button, like, subscribing, rate, reviewing, all that good stuff. Guys, we are on the doorsteps of 60,000 subscribers. Can you believe that?
Already.
It feels like
away.
Yesterday we just passed over 50K. Tomorrow we're going to pass over 60K. Maybe the next day 100K. That would be nice. Just immediate success. That would be dope, huh?
Just bust the doors down.
No such thing.
No such thing as immediate success.
Yeah, it's a slow grind and a slow drip over here, and we're cool with that. We're fine with that. We'll take what we can get, including you guys tonight. Make sure you're firing off in that chat and getting all that good stuff. First and foremost, let's start with the reactions from last night. Boys, I think that was the classic social media football game. And here's what I mean by that. I look on my Twitter timeline as soon as UNC scores, and Bill Belichick is the next head coach at Alabama. It's get rid of DeBoer. Bill Belichick, I knew this thing was going to work. Of course, the GOAT comes down here and slaps college football around. Greatest coach of all time. Hire him at Alabama. Get rid of him. This guy's awesome. It's going to work. 20 minutes later, it's nothing but jokes about his 24-year-old girlfriend. Just like that. I mean, Good Lord, they love you when they love you and hate you when they hate you, right?
I mean, it's like no one knows what a scripted first drive is that is catered to working when two teams are still feeling each other out in a situation like that. I was kind of astounded. I thought when I saw Colin Cowherd tweet that at first, because it was the first one that came across my timeline, I was like, oh, he's absolutely trolling here. He's doing engagement farming. I was like, this is great. And then you see more and more people doing like, I've seen enough. Bill
They
Belichick.
all bit the hook.
It's wild. I couldn't believe that. I've never seen any like media group jump that quickly on a coach. Just be like, oh yeah, he's the right answer. He's the best.
I'll be honest. There's not very often where I just turn a football game off because I can't watch it. Like I just cannot stomach what is happening on a football field. On my way home from the studio last night, I turned that game off. Like it got so bad of like,
I mean, it's pitiful. From what I saw on social media, it sounds like Kirk Herbstreit wanted to turn the game off.
Yeah, he
was
did.
Calling it. I mean, it gets so bad in Division I Monday night football game that's premiered on television that they put in the headset on the dog. That's how bad it got.
I mean, the fact that they had a ticker at one point. Yeah, love Peter. The fact that they had a ticker at one point of how long it had been since UNC had completed a pass.
Dude,
crazy.
The advanced numbers on this are atrocious. Their defense gave up 7.3 yards per carry. Outside of the first drive, guys, they had one offensive possession that went for more than 5 plays.
One?
Outside of the first drive. They had one offensive possession in the football game that amassed more than 5 offensive snaps. TCU was 7 of 12 on third down. UNC was 1 of 10. I mean, there's nothing from that debut apart from maybe Max Johnson's our savior that you can take away as a positive. Not one.
It was just like defensively, it was just explosive after explosive for TCU. Even defensively, like they were turning turnovers into points. Like, and I'm sure like it gets to a point too where something is built up so much in your mind. Like those UNC football players, like we got Bill Belichick, everybody's talking about us, we're relevant right now, and then you crap out in the first week in prime time. Like everybody's got their eyes on us, and we're not living up to the expectations of like. The effort's going to drop off, but it was bad, man.
The thing that worries me most about it is that we kind of came into the season saying there's going to be quarterback issues here. We thought the what's his last name? I'm forgetting it.
Gio Lopez.
We thought the Gio Lopez kid would kind of be, maybe an answer. Max Johnson was coming off a really bad injury. We kind of assumed that the UNC offense would have some struggles. We thought because it's Bill Belichick, one of the greatest defensive minds in college, or not college football history, would be a fresh face for that UNC defense. And it was not that. They were getting gashed left and right. They were throwing the ball deep on them. DBs were getting beat. I mean, it was one of the most embarrassing performances I've seen in a long time.
I mean, we could look at this and say, well, guys, the roster's bad. We expected to be bad, but he took this job to turn it around and be successful enough within 2 years to give it to his son. And if that's your debut, there's no way within the next 27 games I think it's going to work. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
And it's not even like I watched that game and thought, oh, you know what? TCU's just more talented. They were. There's absolutely that. But it looked like they were getting out schemed.
Yeah.
TCU consistently had the right answers. They were consistently making the right plays on both sides of the ball. They were consistently in better position than UNC was. Mm-hmm. It was weird.
Yeah, I thought they would be bad still. Like I felt like, because I watched UNC last year. I mean, I watched them get the crap beat out of them by a lesser than football team last year for the entirety of it. Like I watched that happen. And then I know for a fact that they had good football players from their roster go to other schools, of course, because their head coach just left, and so you're going to go to a better situation. Like I never felt like that it was just going to be like immediate. Like, but what we talked about is
the schedule.
The schedule was easy for them, and the fact of like, yeah, you may not have better players, but Bill Belichick, like you're talking about, Kirby, is going to have you in the right spots. Like you're going to look like a football team. It did not look like a football team.
Is it time to have a conversation about Belichick? I mean, I know that they've.
I was about to have the conversation of has any quote unquote greatest of all time ever tarnished their legacy or had their legacy tarnished like this rapidly? And I think it started the first year Tom went down to Tampa and immediately won a Super Bowl. Or second year won a Super Bowl, whatever it was. Got one without him. And then it all falls apart in New England. He gets run out of there. Then we start dating a 24-year-old. And then this happens. This is what we go out in week 1 and do. I don't know if this was the greatest of all time, unquestioned, to now this is what we're talking about. This embarrassment.
Yeah, it's...
That quickly. That's what, like 4.5 years?
Oh, dude, yeah.
5 years?
Barely.
Went from undoubtedly greatest of all time to now almost everyone thinking that was definitely all on the quarterback.
It made it look. I mean, they went to the wild card his first year there with Mac Jones, and that was 2021. But after that, 8-9, 4-13, and then obviously he's fired after that season. I mean, he is 12-23 in his last football games coaching. Like, it is not a good look. Obviously, there's all the publicity things that are going along with it that don't help your legacy at all. So you're right. It's a rapid fall from grace.
The only person that I can really think had like this type of fall off in regards to like greatness, Aaron Rodgers, I feel like had a very similar drop off of people are saying this guy is the most talented quarterback that we have ever seen in the NFL before. And over the last 3 years, He's like, people have gotten sour on him. He certainly hasn't gotten into better positions. He's not making the playoffs. He's not in that conversation. It's just kind of like teetered off year by year by year. But he's not in the stratosphere of what Bill Belichick was during his run with the New England Patriots.
No.
Shout out to TCU and that boy Josh Hoover, though.
Yeah.
That's a big dub on national television, even though most people turned it off midway through the third. Yeah, he did look good in the game. It also didn't have to do much in that football game.
Didn't need to, but sometimes.
I mean, how about the commentators curse in that football game as well, when Kirk Herbstreit's like, big, massive defensive drive here to start the second half by UNC, before he could even put a period on his sentence, gutted 75 right down the sideline. See, on your doorsteps.
It was very bad.
Yeah.
There's no other way to put it.
Guys, the new AP poll came out today, but before we get too far into that, I want to give a quick shout out to our friends. Actually, hold that thought. We're going to give a quick shout out after the AP poll. New AP poll came out today. What were your immediate thoughts? First and foremost for me, having watched the first week of the college football season, and I know it's an aggregate score and it's a cumulative of all the votes put together, and that's not how they actually sat down as a cumulative group and voted it, but seeing Alabama at 21 and then behind them Tennessee at 22 just didn't seem right to me, having watched both of those football teams. One of those football teams look like they got their crap together. One of those football teams looks like they don't and got the crap beat out of them. So that was interesting to me, to say the least.
Yeah, it was very interesting to see Alabama rank just that low in general, first of all. But no, I agree. I mean, it's hard to bounce a team from top 10 to out of the top 25 with just one loss. I know Florida State managed to do it in 2 last year, but it's going to be interesting. The biggest takeaway I had from it, first off, pertaining to this game in particular, was that Florida State's a little high for me. I don't know what we saw from Florida State that justifies them jumping God knows how many positions because they were unranked coming into the season. Yeah, you beat the number 8 team, but we just all agree that number 8 team doesn't belong in the top 20, isn't anything close to what anyone thought they were, and might actually just be a bad football team. I don't understand the justification here of now saying, Kirby, Florida State's in the top 15 now.
If you have the right to say Alabama is a bad football team after saying they were preseason 8, you have just as much right to say Florida State made them look like a bad football team.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And Kirby, I don't think anybody deserves or had a more keynote win that deserves to connote you're a top 15 football team than Florida State, outside of the big, top 10 teams that were already.
Teams we already thought.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like
who had a more impressive win this weekend? Who looked like a better football team, Florida State or South Carolina?
Florida State. Florida State, absolutely. And look,
and they're both top 15 football teams. Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it. I'm not against them. I think the jump is too high for a week 1 thing because we don't necessarily know. And I think that's one of the biggest issues I have with this first AP poll that comes out is there's always so much volatility from week 1 because there's an overcorrection to what the offseason rankings were.
Yeah, and you're getting to a point that I wanted to make of, and I understand why they rose up a few spots. It's just the natural flow of the rankings. So like teams lose ahead of them, they got to move up a couple spots. South Carolina in the top 10, I'm not a fan of right now. I watched the Virginia Tech South Carolina game.
The same South Carolina football team from a year ago to me.
It did, and people are really high on them, and Lenore's looked great at moments, but there's also moments where I feel like that offense got very stagnant, and that defense showed signs of what I was afraid of a little bit of. They still have some playmakers, but it's definitely not as stout as they were last year. The offensive line, though, again, it's still continuously being an issue.
Offensively, that was the exact same. You're just waiting around for the magical play to happen. And if that don't happen, y'all punt the football. Now, the good news is that y'all have two magicians on your offense, right? You have Nick Harbor and you have Lenore Sellers, and both are bound to make some type of freakish play at some point. But I don't love that type of strategy of, hey, they'll win it for us eventually. No. This is a 4-quarter football game in conference most of the time.
Yeah, even with Lenore's stats involved in the run game, you didn't run the ball effectively against Virginia Tech. And Virginia Tech has always been known as one of these very physical defensive teams. They did it to Miami last year. Like, that's just their reputation. But we know what the SEC is all about. And you got some big boys on your schedule this year. If you're not able to run the football, I don't care how great Lenore Sellers is running the ball himself. That's not what I want him doing all year long.
Not only is it that, I think it's Lenore Sellers didn't necessarily show me he grew much. And look, the talent is undeniable. He is absolutely capable of winning the Heisman. He's capable of carrying this South Carolina team to the very end. He's still trying to do too much. He still is not making the right decisions in certain aspects and trying to be Superman. That safety was completely avoidable. You don't need to try to step up in the pocket when you're 5 yards deep in the end zone. Get rid of that football. Yeah. There were other instances in that game where it's just like you are trying to do too much now. And the reality is 10-8 going into the fourth quarter against Virginia Tech is not a top 10 football team. I know that they had a really impressive end to that game, but...
All right, I got to stop the chat for a second. Completely sidebar here. This looks like a new name to this chat, so he's about to get a lesson here, and I apologize for this young man or whoever this is. Quote: LSU has a legit QB. Legit has 17 points, buddy. If you didn't see the level of high-quality quarterback play that Garrett Nussmeier had to summon to create those 17 points against that Clemson defense, this is the wrong channel for you. If you think you can come up in here and say a comment like that after this program broke down that film of that quarterback who I thought played the best quarterback game of anybody in college football last week, apart from maybe Darian Mensah, bro, Garrett Nussmeier was dialed, and by the way, scored 24 points, had the Zebras not ripped 7 from him.
Facts.
All right? That dude was playing quarterback. Some of these guys are just out here throwing the ball, getting stats up. The hell was that?
Certainly played was the best quarterback amongst the top-ranked teams. Like, Sakapatula out there in Cal. That dude was playing
that dude
quarterback.
Was balling.
That dude was balling.
Against my Beavs.
Yeah.
He was balling on my Beavers.
Excuse me?
Yeah. Well,
you heard me.
But yes, Garrett Nussmeier, I walked away very impressed. I certainly was impressed with him.
I think another takeaway from this is they viewed that Miami Notre Dame game as a wash. I think they both jumped like three positions or dropped 3 positions. Very obvious that they viewed those two teams as equal, and that just so happened that Miami ended up winning that football game. I don't think they punished Notre Dame too much for that loss. Nothing like they would have done, nothing like they did for Alabama or even Texas for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to do that to you, my man, but this here's a ball knowers chat, okay? We're going to learn some ball one way or the other. Any other notes you had? I am a firm believer that I got on a neutral site, I got Utah over Texas Tech, Indiana, and Bama, 3 teams that are rated over than them, or ranked higher than them.
You know,
how about the turnaround for Utah, by the way? Right? They were bad last year.
They were bad.
And I know that they had a turn.
The defense was still damn good, though.
Yeah, defense was still really good, and they had a turnstile at quarterback. I understand all of that. Like, everybody was talking about how they had a pig farmer playing quarterback for them last year, which was true. But Devin Dampier looked good. Yeah. I like it. I like this Utah team.
Buddy, I mean, Florida State pushed you around. What do you think 2 top 10 picks would do at the tackle position that Utah's got?
Yeah.
And Devin Dampier.
Yeah.
I think they'd push that Bama squad around tomorrow.
Might not be wrong.
I damn sure would pick the coaching staff from Utah over what I'm seeing right now.
That's what I was about to say is
from Alabama, because that stuff is yuck.
We know Utah's going to be more defensively sound for sure.
Yeah,
Facts.
I mean, Utah right now looks really good for that Big 12 spot.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of LSU at 3? Because I personally feel like it's a little high.
Honestly, I thought they had an argument for 2. And some people in the sporting world think they have a debate to be the number 1 team in the country.
It's definitely there.
I want to have the debate right now. Honest to God, I want to have the debate of who had the more quality win this weekend, who is the number one team in the country. I believe it's Ohio State. We ranked them as a collective stage unit, the number one team in the country going into the season. We are a program that tips the cap to national title winners, especially when you return two of the best football players in the country.
Yep.
So I'm fine with Ohio State being one. I do think there is an argument, though, that LSU had the best, most quality win this past weekend.
Absolutely. No doubt about that. They had the absolute best quality win. I won't push back on that. I do wonder, though, if that win is enough to justify jumping a Penn State team that we all agreed was top 2 in the country at the start of the year, or jumping a Georgia team, or jumping whoever the number 3 team was behind that. Like those teams, I don't know if what LSU did in week 1 alone was enough to say, all right, yeah, they are better than Georgia. Yeah, they are better than Penn State. They obviously turned in the most sound performance. They were balanced. Their quarterback looked good. Garrett Nussmeier was throwing the ball in tight windows, making the right decisions. The defense looks very much improved, but I don't know if I can justify saying off of one game, that's a better team than Georgia, that's a better team than Penn State, or that's a better team than Ohio State.
Me personally, Penn State would have never started in the top 5 if it were my rankings. But because they did, they belong at 2. Like for now, because of how you ranked them preseason, they deserve to stay at 2. LSU had a really quality win, but also the way I talk about Clemson is I think Clemson is a playoff team, but I also don't think that they would beat any of the other top teams in the country in a playoff matchup. I don't think that they would beat Texas in a playoff game right now. That's just my opinion, despite what we saw from Arch and whatnot on that road trip to Ohio State. But I firmly believe that Ohio State certainly deserves to be the number one team in the country right now.
Yeah. Chat's asking if they think, or if we think Arch has an opportunity to get better. Yeah, if the mechanics get cleaned up and he calms down. Like that was the scariest thing about, and I think we've talked about it enough. The scariest thing about what happened Saturday to me was that he's a completely different football player. Like we just changed everything about ourselves as a thrower, and that to me is a little bit worrisome. Either we're hurt or the moment was entirely too big. The key is to get him settled back in somehow the next time y'all run into a moment like that, which you won't until you come on the road in November to Georgia, right? Mm-hmm. That's their next big football game. Or
they got to play Florida.
They go to Ben Hill in 3 weeks. But I mean, they have 3 tomato cans.
All right.
Like, it's literally like
I love this new term.
It's San Jose State, Sam Houston, and like one other team that they're going to put 50 on each one. So, I mean, here's what I think you're going to see. In about 3 to 4 weeks, and even if they beat Florida, you're going to see Arch Manning has built his confidence. He's back. Week 1 was a fluke. Everything's fine here in Texas. And honestly, like, I don't hate that being the outcome. I think I would be shocked if the Arch Manning that you saw against Ohio State is the Arch Manning that you see throughout the season.
This Texas-Florida game, just because we're talking about it right now, whoever loses that football game, that quarterback's getting written off. That's how I feel about it.
Ooh.
Because people are already like, I was talking to a Florida fan this weekend, and they were more impressed with the backup than they were DJ Lagway this weekend against Long Island University. And I know you're going to do that thing. I understand. That's just opinions I'm hearing. And I'm already seeing Florida fans get riled up about the offensive concepts that they're running, all those things. So I'm seeing that. People are already skeptical of Arch Manning. This game is going to be played in 3 weeks. Whoever loses that football game, the loser is probably going to be deemed as, we knew it. Wasn't made for it.
Quarterback sucks.
Yeah.
This guy stinks.
Of course, there's also an avenue, though, where they both ball out.
But I mean,
I
in
saw
fairness,
people out here tweeting out DJ Lagway's QBR versus LIU.
It was bad.
It's LIU, dog.
Oh, I know.
I guarantee if I turn that tape on, they ain't doing jack diddly as an offense in terms of scheme. I bet it is day one install.
I mean, it's also predicated on, are we hitting our deep shots or not?
Yeah.
And if you're not, your QBR is going to be low. So
at least he was playing. That's the good news.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the positive news there. Any other thoughts on the AP Top 25?
I think it's an overall solid poll. I don't think there's anything else that really makes you go, wow.
I will say this. We all questioned how highly ranked Michigan was going into the season. Mm-hmm. I think we all feel good about where they're at now, though.
Yeah, 15.
After week 1. I felt good that 15, 16 range.
Yeah, I mean, they even got...
It was what, Western Michigan 37-20.
I think it's New Mexico.
New Mexico 37-20 range. They beat them by
34-17.
34-17. So
beat them by 17 points.
This is the true test this week, of course. Like, that's when you'll know, like, get a better idea of what Michigan is. But right now, I don't know how much I love them being at 15.
If for some reason you're a Michigan fan listening to us tonight or an Oklahoma fan listening to us tonight, for sure, we have film studies coming for you guys on that. We're going to preview that for you guys today. Folks talking about the Patreon film study. That's right. We're going to preview that for you guys, or recap that rather for you guys in the local hour. It was tremendous stuff that we dropped just today before the show. Now, this next segment, by the way, boys, I don't know if it's too early for this. I don't know if it's proper timing for this. But it's already happening, and it's not my fault. It's a topic that's already being discussed, so we got to talk about it right now. Is it too early to be talking about whether or not they need to fire Kalen DeBoer? And before you give me your answer, I just want to lay some facts out for you. He is currently 9-5 as Alabama's head football coach. He is 5 in his last 10 games, 4-5 in his last 9. If I want to make it look that bad, all five of his losses are by double-digit favorites. There are 100% games he should not be losing. And further facts for you, $63 million buyout at the end of this season. And before you go start talking about how this is crazy, don't be talking about this way too early for this. This ain't me talking. Y'all trust Pete Thamel as much as anybody. Everyone should. He works for ESPN. He's handed these stories by the big people in the world, okay, of the world of college football. This is Pete Thamel talking about this today. Quote, by the time they play LSU, we could know. There are already some signs now that they're getting things in motion. He went on to say that it would be historic, the amount of money that they would give him, only second to that they gave Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M. And he also went on to allude, guys, that Kalen DeBoer may just go somewhere else, may just leave Alabama. I don't know about that either. I'm with you. You're going to have to drag me up out there while paying me that $63 million. You're going to have to fire my butt. Ain't no way I'm selectively leaving, big dog.
Yeah.
Is it too early, though? Is it too early to be having this conversation?
It's not too early to potentially prepare for it. I'll tell you that much.
That's a good point.
It's not too early to do that. And so by that, I would say, no, it's not too early to talk about it, because I think if you aren't, like, at least keeping this in the back of your mind of this is a potential, we might get to this point this season, or maybe even in the halfway point of this season, then you would be failing yourself as an organization and as a football program. But there is needed context to this. Like, we don't know how good Florida State is just yet. Like, we don't know. Like, you could certainly get better. Like, we just don't know those things. It's early in the season to make, like, a firm answer.
It is early, Jonathan, but they just lost their first game, so they're 0-1. They got ULM in Wisconsin. Let's give them that.
Yeah.
Let's say they're 2-1 after week 3. They go on the road to Georgia. They get Vandy at home, at Mizzou, Tennessee, at South Carolina. If he loses 2 of those 5 right there, we got to have serious questions.
Yeah.
If he loses 3 of those 5, we're eating $63 million in Tuscaloosa.
Most likely.
Yeah.
If we're staring down 4-4 in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, before a bye week and LSU's coming to town, you're gone.
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think you're at an inflection point for Alabama here, because you have to now decide what you want this program to look like post Saban, because the first thing you have to accept is that era is gone. You are no longer going to be the most talented team on the field that just does every single thing right, that bludgeons everyone, that no matter who you're playing, whether it's the first-ranked team in the country or the worst in college football, you're going to beat the hell out of them. That era is gone. So you have to ask yourself now, are you happy with where things are? Because the reality of what the Kalen DeBoer era of Alabama looks like, and will probably look like moving forward, is you're going to be a talented enough team to beat everyone. They have enough talent. They've recruited well enough. He has shown that he can recruit in this area. The problem is that you're so poorly coached and you're so undisciplined that you're also going to have the ability to lose to anyone.
That's the thing for me is this is such a unicorn to me. This is such a rare case where a guy comes into a program that has a championship caliber roster, a 10-win guaranteed talent type of roster, and the first year goes 9-4 and then turns around and loses the first game. He's lost 5 of his last 10 football games, all as multiple digit favorites, after taking over a program that was really, really good. I asked this on Twitter today. Do we have an example of a football coach that was so obviously on a downtick the moment he started at a place that was on high, obviously on a downtick, and then somehow pulled the nose up to ultimately become a success. And Alabama fans hopped in my mentions talking about Kirby Smart going 8-5 in year one. First of all, by year two, he was on the way to play for a national title, not getting beat by 14 as a 2-touchdown favorite on the road by a death punch in the face, first and foremost. Secondly, he was replacing Mark Richt, who always had occasional 8-5s. 8-5 at Georgia during 2016 was not non-par for the course. It was not out of left field. Buddy, you go 8-5 at Alabama this year, and that's going to look like all hell broke loose. So the two are not the same. And I ask you guys, has anyone been able to pull the nose up when it is very obviously tanking on them?
The only instances I can think of and where it's going downhill and you think that this is probably the end, they're probably going to get fired, is Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
In the late 2020, 2019 era when he was like, I think they went like 3 and something in 2020.
Oh, the COVID year, they were 2-4.
They were awful.
Yeah.
Awful. I thought it was over. And then obviously he turned around in 2021, ended up winning a championship in 2023. But even then, it's not like Jim Harbaugh inherited this incredible program that was competing for national titles. So I don't know if there's ever been an instance where you take over this absolute dynasty, tank it to the ground, and then bring it back up to the dynasty again.
How do we feel about Steve Sarkisian in this conversation?
He didn't do it at the place. You know what I'm saying? He's pulling the nose up at Texas when the nose was going down at USC. When the nose, he had to leave Washington. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's a different case. But I see what you're saying.
And I know that Texas
on the upward.
And he didn't take Texas over after they just had an immense amount of success recently. Obviously, that program had a tradition of winning and whatnot. But I mean, he went 5-7, 8-5, and then we turned that around into 12-2, 13-3, and probably 3 years in a row of being a college football playoff team.
Yeah,
that's like the only thing I could think of like this guy took a head coaching job, didn't look like it was probably going to work out, and it's like considering the history too of him.
Yeah.
That's the only name I can really think of.
The only thing I would push back on that, two things. They were a downtrodden program when he took over.
Absolutely.
And that first year where they had, I think they were 7-5. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. I think all 5 of those were 1-score losses.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like he was an embarrassment out there for a program that was already 7-5. He was a more competitive 7-5. Most people that were probably watching Texas football thought they were improving. No different than the 7-5 team from 2015 or whatever it was the year before Kirby took over and the second year that Kirby took over.
Yeah.
So again, like I think the best example I got was Marcus Freeman. Marcus Freeman lost the first 3 football games that he coached and immediately pulled the nose up. But that doesn't even equate to this one. This guy walked into Alabama last year, guys, and beat the number 1 team in the country at home. He was the number 1 ranked team a month into the season. Everybody thought he had the best player in college football and the best roster and was going to go on and win a national title or at least compete for one. The next week gets beat by Vandy, then gets beat by Oklahoma, then gets beat by Michigan, then opens the season with a gut-wrenching loss to Florida State. I've never seen this. This is very new to me. Now, again, forgive my bald knowledge. It really starts about 2012 for me. So the last 15 years or so, or 10 to 12, 15 years of college football, this is new. I've never seen this happen. I've seen the Mike Norvell thing. We build it back up. It falls like a rock. Hey, we're on our climb back up. We're going to make it happen again, it looks like. I've not seen this, though. This is new.
No, definitely. I do think the damning part for Kalen DeBoer, in my opinion, is it seems like we know what it looks like from here on out, what a Kalen DeBoer team looks like. And it's going to happen this season. They're going to look like an unstoppable force at some point in 2025. And everyone's going to go, oh, they turned the corner. Here it is. Everything's fine. This is the game. This is the Alabama we expected to see. But the problem is they can't consistently deliver that. We saw that last year. We saw them beat the hell out of Georgia for a half and go, my God, this is the best team in college football. This might be the best team ever. And then for the next 6 quarters, it was, not very good. Turn around a few weeks later. You beat the hell out of LSU. It's like, they had a blip on the radar. Kalen DeBoer's Alabama is back. Jalen Milroe's back. Again, lose to Oklahoma. So the reality of it is, for me, is like we're going to see this go up and down. It just depends. Alabama fans, are you happy with dealing with the lows that you're dealing with right now? Are you happy with getting embarrassed on social media because you lost to an unranked team that you were favored by 14 points? Because there is good coming for you. History states that you're probably going to beat a top 5 team and beat the hell out of them this year.
I think the true answer to your question about answering a question of a coach starting off down and going up, this is just such of an anomaly, like this situation right here, because it is Nick Saban. Because like that is who you are following. This like it almost discredits anything that is happening right now, because I don't even know if like that is like the actual standard for Alabama football. Nick Saban created that. Nick Saban is the greatest coach of all time in college football. I don't know if that means that Alabama needs to be perennially that good.
To me, it's not even a standard of like, this is the Alabama standard. There's a standard of winning football, and they don't play it.
No.
They don't play winning football. They sometimes can get you because their talent's good enough, but they do not play winning football. They do not prepare their players to win games. They do not call games to win games. I'm not bullish on it and turning up. Like, dude, I have not seen a defensive film study that bad in a long time. Mm-hmm. And I know Gus Malzahn, but guys, Gus Malzahn ain't reinventing the wheel. The idea that we're running quarterback counter off of jet, duh. He ran this shit with Nick Marshall in 2011. Like, this stuff is not new. I was flabbergasted by the lack of run fits to see in a college football game. Not leveraging the football. We went on the rant last night. That was so bad, I don't know if you can pull the nose up. And here's the other thing. We already know what the signs are when you start feeling pressure. He's going to walk one of these coordinators to the plank this year. He's going to walk one of them to the plank, push them off the edge, and fire them.
We know which one it would be.
And we know which one it's going to be. And whenever that happens, that's the time where the boosters are going to start saving their money for the buyout. Because you don't survive. You don't survive the second coordinator firing. You're the second one to go normally.
The biggest red flag for me in all of this is that you don't like, you look way worse than you were last year, and we were like, and the stats will tell you that this is one of the most talented teams in the country. And yes, you did lose some very valuable football players from last year's team, but you also brought back a lot. You also brought back a lot of key members on defense and on offense this year, and things were looking up for you.
The biggest concern to me is they clearly don't have any answers, because every time I hear them talk about, oh, we just got to get back to the standard. I thought this whole offseason was about getting back to the standard. I thought y'all were starting to tuck your shirts in. I thought y'all were starting to actually show up for time stuff and weights on time. I thought that's what this offseason was about. Oh, it's about team meet. I thought y'all held team meetings last year. I thought y'all circled the wagons last year. I thought y'all got the boys together and said, no, this is about us. This is about making sure we do the little things. I thought the summer was about little things. Y'all already identified these things as problems. Y'all spent the last 8 months trying to fix them, and you didn't. That's even more concerning. Every time I hear somebody come to a microphone, it's about, oh, we gotta get back to the standard. When you're going to do it?
What is your standard?
What is the standard?
Because, I mean, obviously we know Saban's standard, and that's been set. You clearly are not capable of reaching. And look, saying you can't reach the Saban standard is not really that big of an insult. He's one of one. He's one of a kind. You're not going to find a coach that can match that. But, I mean, and I hate to do this retroactive stuff and looking at it in hindsight, but Kalen DeBoer is a Ryan Williams incredible touchdown catch and a Lenora Sellers turnover from being 7-5 last season.
It's true.
And the reality of that is that you go down the line and then it's, okay, we're 7-5. We really need to get back here. And you come out and you give this. It's very not good. It's damning for Kalen DeBoer, I think. And honestly, I feel like Alabama's going to be under the mentality of fail fast and figure out, okay, if this isn't the guy here and you've shown us no life, we're done with you.
The crazy part to me is that we're in year 2 of this, and typically what we would probably be discussing when it comes to a head coach and about him being able to stay with a program is, oh, well, let's pay attention to the recruiting class that he's bringing in this year. If he keeps that intact, he's got a young quarterback, a young former 5-star quarterback in the room. Everything else looks like it's on the up and coming, and that doesn't even feel like that's a factor in any of this. It doesn't matter how great your recruiting class is. It doesn't matter the fact that Keelan Russell's on your roster right now. Nobody cares about that because of what the product looks like on the field.
Well, it's not a talent issue is the problem. I would get that if it was like, man, Alabama's just not good anymore. They're not. The talent is there.
They got one of the most blue chip laden rosters in the sport.
It's the effort. It's the coaching. It's the preparedness. It is not a SEC caliber team in all those aspects.
SEC winning caliber football team right now.
Okay, no SEC. It is not a national championship. It is not a playoff caliber team, and that's what you have to be at Alabama.
I just don't know how you right the ship. That's my main question about this. When the nose starts going down, how many coaches start pulling it up? It's just not very many of them.
I'll even do you one more specific. What coach has turned around the culture that quickly in a program? Because you had a whole offseason to do it, and you didn't do it. Yeah. You're gonna turn around this offseason,
especially
the regular
in the last
season
5
now?
years of college football.
Yeah.
Like, if you bring me an example from the mid-'90s, buddy, we got a different level of young teenager. I don't know if y'all have talked to a 19-year-old lately. Hell, I got young people I can't even manage, and I don't coach hard. I don't even manage hard. You can't talk to people nowadays. You can't coach them hard nowadays. So I don't even know. And you know what I think is the most disingenuous argument ever is that Nick Saban saw all this coming and got out, or maybe he was 74 years old. Mm-hmm. Maybe he was 74 years old and had been doing this since the 80s. Maybe that's why he retired. I get so sick and tired of everything's even now. That's why he left. Guys, he left in a semifinal game. What are y'all talking about? I thought his last year of coaching college football was one of his best years of coaching college football. I thought he boxed Kirby Smart in an SEC championship game. I thought he made the key coaching adjustment in an SEC championship game and won that sucker off a defensive change. So what are y'all talking about? I think it's the most disingenuous bullcrap ever. That, Nick Saban was cheating. That's the only reason he won. Like Alabama and Kalen DeBoer don't have a blue chip roster right now and can't figure out basic alignment on defense.
I mean, the argument that Nick Saban saw what was coming and left is fair. I think the argument that, Nick Saban realized he couldn't out-cheat is crazy.
I don't even think that he saw it coming and left is fair. He was 73 years old.
Well, it's that. I think it's more along the lines of Nick Saban saw the era of college football was turning, how much more difficult it would be to win a national championship, how much more effort you'd have to put in, how much more effort you'd have to put on the recruiting trail, and said, you know what, I'm 74, I don't need this. I've already cemented my legacy. I don't need to deal with what's coming down the pike because I've already cemented myself. That's why I think when people are saying that's why he left. I don't think Nick Saban went, I can't cheat anymore. I'm out of here. Yeah. I don't think it's that.
In fact, you can cheat even more, some would argue.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right, let's get into these previews, ladies and gentlemen. Got 4 what we think are really, really big-time football games this weekend. Let's start with Iowa and Iowa State. Boys, you know me. I'm a big Cyclones guy. Big Matt Campbell guy around these parts. I think the key to this matchup is simple. It's the forward pass.
Yeah.
It's the forward pass in this football game. And I'm rockoed. You know what I mean? I'm rockoed up over here. I got me some Becht, all right? And you got you some 8 for 14 for 44 yards against Albany last week. Give me Iowa State in the key determining factor in this matchup with a very, very stern edge towards my boy Rockoed.
Man, the fact that Iowa's quarterback was an algorithm play at one point this offseason.
For one throw.
For a 5-yard out route, I believe it was. Yeah. And because it was a tight spiral, it was like, damn. Iowa might be back, boys. We got ourselves a quarterback. No, apparently you do not. Ryan Gronowski is not the answer for you right now, or it doesn't look to be. So, yeah, I mean, for me, X Factor, it's Rocco Becht. It's about the Iowa State offense. It's about as plain and simple as you can get in this one. I do think it's still going to be like your typical defensive fight. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be that. Iowa's not going to be able to move the football. And if Iowa State can have an ounce of offense under Rocco Becht, which we've seen, they've been very impressive. I know Kansas State might not be a good team. They beat a pretty bad team last weekend. They look really good. I'm riding with Iowa State on this one.
I think that watching this football game, this is how I described it. Your viewing of this football game is going to be like playing dodgeball with pine cones and your friends in the backyard. Probably not a good idea. Doesn't feel good. Really not enjoyable. But at the same time, it's still kind of fun. I think that there is going to be some level of fun watching this game this weekend.
I think my first career fist fight with one of my best friends, shout out Eric Lloyd, was over a pine cone fight.
Yeah.
Pine cone fight?
I think I won the pine cone fight. He might have won the fist fight.
You never had a pine cone fight?
No.
You and your buddies never got together and was like, you see these pokey things on the ground? Let's throw them at each other.
We didn't have enough pine trees.
Also got in a Lysol fight with Eric and got a nosebleed out of that
city
one.
Boy over here. Yeah. Didn't have no pine trees.
Not your fault. You didn't have any friends growing up.
That's not true. Jeez, dude. Good Lord.
Who's the X factor in this football game? It's got to be Big Citrus.
Oh, I like this. I like this.
You know, my man Big Citrus going to shut down that Iowa Hawkeye running game.
Big Citrus is a great shout out. You know what? I'm changing mine to Big Citrus. I had it as Rocco Becht because I think that the better quarterback.
Yeah.
He's a better quarterback in this game. He's going to be able to push the ball down the field. But Big Citrus, knowing what Iowa's going to want to do, I like it. I'm hopping on board with that.
Yeah, I'm riding Big Citrus too with that. I think, again, if Iowa can't run the football, it's all going to start with the interior offensive line. If you have Big Citrus wreaking havoc there, we're pretty sure they can't pass. They've shown the last 5 years they can't do it. So
unless it doesn't happen, I got multiple tight end pop passes hitting for explosives for Iowa State. A couple bad eye discipline snaps from Iowa. I know you want to be a mixed match zone coverage football team, do a lot of zone. Hard to play zone with all that mass in the box, big dog. You're going to mess up with that eye discipline. Going to have big old white tight ends running into your back end. Iowa State going to get some explosives this weekend.
I'm going on the flip side. You know, we talked about Iowa State's defense and what they are prone to at times, and they are vulnerable to explosive plays at times. I think Gronowski's going to get him some explosives on Saturday. Give me 2 of them.
No.
2 explosive passing plays for Iowa against Iowa State on Saturday.
I got mad unders in this football game on Sleeper. I'm going to tell you that right now. Mad unders on Sleeper, which, by the way, we need to give some love to here in just a second. Write the script. I got Iowa State absolutely anaconda squeezing this football game. 27-10, my Cyclones roll.
yeah, I think it's gonna. I don't even know if they're gonna score that much. I would go 21-3. I think it's gonna be like that type of game. I don't see. Look, Iowa State is giving up some explosives. We've seen it throughout the 2 games, but I don't know if Iowa has the tools to get to those explosives. So I'm gonna ride with Iowa State dominating here.
Yeah, defensive football game right here. I think it's a low-scoring game. I think it's going to be a really tight football game the entire way through. I got Iowa State winning this one 20-10. That's just kind of the football game I see this one being.
Somebody grab something here. I'm looking for something.
I was like, well, next game we've got on the script is Ole Miss at Kentucky, which is an interesting one because Kentucky obviously upset Ole Miss last season. You all right over there?
No, I lost my ad reads papers.
Keep rolling.
Well, either way, Ole Miss defeated by Kentucky last season. I believe Ole Miss was ranked 6th in the country at the time. Kentucky went in there and won an ugly game. Ole Miss now travels to Lexington. What are you thinking for this one, Jay?
One of the biggest things that I forgot about last year's matchup, because I looked at this game and I saw that Ole Miss was favored by 10.5 going into this one, and I'm like, whoa, there's something weird going on there. That seems pretty easy pick 'em for me. And then I remember that the way that Kentucky beat Ole Miss last year was they had 19 more minutes of time of possession than Ole Miss did last year. So they kept the ball away from them. And you know what? Weird things be happening at Kroger Field. We talk about Jordan Hare. Just ask Georgia how their trips to Kroger Field have gone in recent memory. So
very good.
Some very strange things happen. So despite the fact that Zach Calzada did not look great against my Toledo Rockets last week, I still think that this is probably going to be somewhat of a close matchup, but I still give the edge to Ole Miss by a pretty wide margin.
Yeah, again, I think Lane Kiffin's probably going to come in ready for this game. And when you are a team that upsets a team the previous year, there's always some sort of target on your back circled. It almost never happens twice in a row. The only time I can think of an inferior team upsetting a team twice in a row was when Ole Miss did it in 2014 and 15.
Yeah.
But even then, those were really, really talented Ole Miss teams that, just happened to get the job done. Kentucky doesn't have the horses for this one.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you my pick on that game in just a second, but I'm going to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Sleeper, the #1 place for daily fantasy and prop plays. Sleeper Picks is a real money product that connects friends over picks. Choose 2 to 8 of your favorite players from pregame, live, or even across different sports. Pick more than or less than the predicted stat lines. It's that simple. On Sleeper, you can get up to 100x payouts, share with your friends, and get rewarded today together. Use promo code Brooks on Sleeper and get 100% deposit match over there. Again, that's 100% deposit match with promo code Brooks over on Sleeper today. That's sleeper.com/promo/Brooks. I just looked at the picks. Jonathan, let's get that screen share put up. We've got the new weekend lines put in here, and I'm telling you, I'm looking at this John Mateer 1.5 in this big time football game against Michigan. He's been chunking it lately. We watched early earlier, or talked about it earlier, that game last week, they were leaning heavily on John Mateer in that ball game. I'm going to put the over on him. What do you think else looks pretty juicy on here, boys? Let's scroll down and find another one of these big-time football games. Don't necessarily see it. Miller Moss against JMU, 249.5. What do you think, boys? Should we ride the quarterback whisperer?
I think it'd be wrong not to.
Nah, you know what, Jonathan? I'm going to take the under. I think they ride the running back out there for Louisville in that football game against an underpowered JMU football team. Let's take the under and let's go ahead and submit that entry right now on Sleeper. Again, that's Sleeper today. Use promo code Brooks for 100% deposit match over there. Make sure you're supporting those who support us this season. It's big time important that you go flood those folks with love and support, because that's what they're doing here on this network. That is for damn sure. All right, let's get on to this prediction for me. We're talking about Ole Miss and Kentucky. Guys, we're going to preview this. It's first big time start for Austin Simmons. We're going to go back and look at his game against Georgia State. Turned it over twice, and I saw some people running into it. Okay, and I'm a friend of the show, SEC Mike. Now, SEC Mike, tweeting out, hey, Jackson Dart, only 6 interceptions last year. Austin Simmons, 2 first start this year. Hey, go check them turnover totals the first year Jackson Dart was a starter. Go check those turnover totals the first year the guy before him, Matt Corral, was a starter. Okay, go look at it. They turn it over. That's what they do. In their first year as starters, they tend to turn it over at Ole Miss. I expect him to turn it over this weekend. That's the key to the game, right? Can Kentucky make this young quarterback turn it over in his first career start? History says the Wildcats at home do give these teams a little spark, right? Do give these teams a little fist fight. I think that is the major key. And I would say history says Kentucky has a slight edge, both with Kentucky's ability to do this and first-year starters turning it over in Ole Miss's system. All right, y'all already went through it all? Y'all gave predictions?
No.
Okay, my bad. Go ahead.
I do want to note, though, that the thing that would terrify me a little bit about Kentucky is that when you go into a football game and it feels like Lane Kiffin has the opportunity to put up 50 points if he wants to.
He gone.
And this feels like one of those games like, oh, you got us at home last year. You ruined our opportunities of making a college football playoff last year. If he wants to hang 50 on you Saturday, there's a good chance that he will. So that would be the only thing that kind of scares me about this one. If
a motivated Lane Kiffin scares you, huh?
Oh, a motivated, like, scoring hungry Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
And, they are outmatched. Let's be honest. They are outmatched. So I think that there is an avenue that this game could go where it is just an absolute drumming.
Hey, chat, I think he's just praying for a get back for his Rockets. That's what I think is going on right about.
I don't need a get back. We covered. We're fine.
Oh, so that's what the baseline is now? Covering?
Good
for a
teams.
playoff prediction team, huh? Covering.
Oh, so we're now expecting that G5 teams have, we didn't expect Boise State to beat Oregon in week 1.
I don't know, chat. Y'all let me know. I feel like he was basically not like, unless it doesn't happen, predicting. I feel like you were riding the Rockets last week and you took a L, and that's okay.
Yeah, we're fine.
Okay.
Everybody
Shake
can
back.
hop off the
Shake
wagon
back.
if you want. We don't want doubters on this hype train anyways. We want real people.
Your rocket's going to the moon. Not
Yes.
one of these rockets that just sprays out.
I told you guys back in
rocket to the
June.
moon.
The best thing about the Toledo Rockets is that, hey, we got Kentucky week 1, but the rest of the schedule, we're going to be all right.
Hell yeah. I love that. I love that mentality. And guess what? End of the year, it's going to be, hey, they gave them a fourth quarter fight, even though Kentucky was kind of handling that game.
Yeah.
Didn't they kind of garbage score late, get it close?
Yeah, it was just kind of like
that let's look good for the playoff committee after we run through our conference type of score.
Yeah.
Or better yet known as the Indiana Hoosier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. X Factors. I got Dante Dowdle, the Kentucky running back. Last week, guys, 14 for $129 against your Toledo Rockets. Okay, if he has the ability to run on this Ole Miss team, the Kentucky we're pulling an upset at home game plan is very simple. We're trying to limit possessions, squat on the rock, play good defense. That recipe requires Dowdle to have a good game.
Yeah, definitely. That's going to be the recipe for Kentucky to win. I have Caden Lee as my X factor here. If he can get behind Kentucky's DBs, if they can have any sort of explosive plays, you don't need a lot. You need a few. It didn't take that many points last year. It wouldn't have taken that many points to avoid the upset. If you can get into the red zone or in plus territory 2 or 3 times with a few deep shots, Ole Miss is going to win this football game, as ugly as Kentucky makes it.
Kalen Lee's a good football player, but I think that Ole Miss already has their next Trey Harris, and it's Harrison Wallace. That dude went for 130 yards last week. He's a starting X for them out there. That seems to be, for me, the guy that they're really targeting for their deep shots and their explosive plays. So that's who I have as my X factor in this game.
I don't even have it unless it doesn't happen. Kentucky pulls off the upset. Don't believe it. Give me Ole Miss 28-17.
How about Austin Simmons throws 3 interceptions but still wins?
I like that. That's very plausible.
Little Carson Beck action.
It's very plausible. How'd Calzado look last week?
Not good. Not good.
Very
They're
good.
going to play the other guy?
I don't think so. They only played him. It was Zach Calzado, I'm pretty sure, the entire game against Toledo.
Well, they don't have a lot of money there at Kentucky. And when you don't have a lot of money, you get to lose games you shouldn't win. That's what I learned today. When your roster only costs $18 million and Ohio State's costs $40, you can lose as a 14-point favorite to Florida State. That's what I learned today.
Well, that'd be true if it was a talent issue, but it's not a talent issue.
Nope. We got another massive football game. Michigan plays this weekend. They go on the road to Norman, Oklahoma. Massive matchup as Sharon Moore returns home to his alma mater. Now, I talked about it last week before the week 1 matchup for them against New Mexico. The idea that Sharon Moore having a mobile quarterback and having a good running back is pretty dynamic, and they're going to be able to protect that quarterback. I felt like they did that on Saturday in his first start and still showed some of the flashes that made him a $10 million prospect, $12 million prospect, whatever it was. We're going to preview this game as well, so we'll have Bryce Underwood tape. We'll have John Mateer tape for you guys on this network this week. But I do believe that Bryce Underwood is a Cam Newton-esque type of talent. I do believe he is a Terrell Pryor-esque type of talent. I think this kid is going to be uniquely special in the sense that the parts around him don't necessarily have to be all that great. He's just a baller, man. And he also happens to be one of, if not the biggest guy on the field at all times. Did you see the touchdown run from Justice Haynes where he threw a block on a defensive end?
I didn't know.
He made the defensive end look like a safety because he's 6'5", 230 pounds. Like, he's a very large man, moves really, really fast, and plays hard. And I think he creates a sense of confidence from his teammates as well.
Yeah, I think that for this matchup,
I have keys and all that stuff, but I wanted to open with that.
I'm interested to see what he develops into. I think that it's kind of like not unfortunate that this game is so early for them because don't really know much about Bryce Underwood just yet, despite like all the tools and the talent that he has. But you just don't really know like what he is as a true freshman quarterback just yet. I think he's only going to get better as the year progresses. This is a tough situation walking into as a true freshman, in my opinion. A really tough one.
Venables is going to get after him. You would imagine. I think that's the key to my game. Key to the game for me. Can Oklahoma put this game at his feet? At the freshman's feet on the road. And I'm going to be honest, I do think they have the advantage in that category, at least from a mass standpoint. I think Oklahoma's got one of the best interior defensive lines in the sport of college football this year. They're deep, they're big, they're thick, they're fast, they're physical, and they're multiple. We know what Venables can do. Defensive coordinator. We know what type of confusion he can create for even multi-year starters, let alone a first-time road starter. So I think there is an edge in this department of we can eliminate or do our best job of eliminating making your run game inefficient and making this quarterback live in 3rd and 8 way too many times.
Yeah, that's kind of similar to what I have for the key to the matchup is how much can you make this kid's life hell, and that's Bryce Underwood. It's a freshman quarterback making his 2nd career start, coming into a hostile environment, and you're a defensive coordinator that is known to throw a bunch of things at a quarterback. So you have the opportunity here because, look, Michigan's going to probably try to protect him somewhat. They're going to lean on Justice Haynes. They're going to try to lean on this run game. They're a run-first team. It's what Sharon Moore was when they won the national title. It's what they've been the entire existence of the last 3 or 4 years. They're going to have to throw the ball at some point. When that happens, can you make Bryce Underwood's life hell enough to perform catastrophes? Because if you can get those, your offense obviously has the advantage. And I think Brett Venables does have the advantage in this game, given the circumstances of when the game's played, where the game's played, how early in the season is, all of those things.
For me, the key to the matchup is I put offensive line play for both teams. Biggest reason is because Oklahoma's defensive line is massive, and I think they're really good. I think that's one of the biggest reasons why Brent Venables' defense is really good is because they just have a mountain of humans up front of the defensive line. And then also for Michigan, we got to find a way to get after John Mateer, and we got to find a way to halt their running game a little bit and just create some havoc, in the pocket. And I think that Michigan's defensive line is usually really good, and I think they are pretty good this year despite the losses that they have. So for both offensive lines, got to protect your quarterback, and you got to put them in the most successful positions.
I think for me, the X factor in this football game is Jaden Ott and the 5 offensive linemen for Oklahoma. I know that's not just one singular guy, but guys, they relied way too much on the passing game last week against a mid-major opponent. They ran the ball 32 times a week ago for 103 yards. That ain't going to cut it against a mid-major opponent, and that's going to look like 32 for 84 against Michigan if you're not careful. So I think getting Jaden Ott some type of an explosive touch, and he is that type of back. He'll have 3 run my face into a wall carries and then finds the one sliver. Next thing you know, 65 on your head top. So that type of stuff can happen. It needs to happen if they're going to have any type of multiplicity in this football game. You can't just be saying, John, go win the game.
Yeah.
I know you paid for that, but you can't just do that against a good program like Michigan.
Not this early in the season.
No.
You need that guy to be reliable. I went on the other side. I think Justice Haynes is the X factor for this team because, like I just said, if you can prevent Bryce Underwood from having to go you out and win the game here, and if Justice Haynes can give you another 150-yard performance like he did last week, I think you're fine. If he can just run down the throat of Oklahoma's defense, you're not going to be able to have to rely on Bryce Underwood to throw the ball multiple times. I think he's the X factor for this game.
I put Brent Venables as the X factor, actually. I think that his defensive scheme, and we've seen him do it before in SEC football games. We saw him do it last year. I think that he's going to have the ability to, like Christian kind of said for his key to the matchup, like make life hell a little bit for Bryce Underwood and really give some confusing looks to him and change things up rather quickly on him and just, I don't know, I think he can make life really hard on Bryce Underwood if this defense actually executes what he wants them to.
Time to write the script. I think Michigan has a chance to get after Oklahoma's offensive line. However, Michigan's defense makes that Oklahoma offense one-dimensional, but John Mateer wins it with his arm. The coming out party for John Mateer this weekend. Not that 392 last weekend wasn't flashy, but it's a big-time primetime football game. John Mateer wins it 24-21 in this ball game.
Ooh, you got a close one. I think that this is going to be one of those nasty, suffocating, both defenses are just not giving an inch. It's going to be like 7-3 at halftime, and we're all going to go, man, this is a really boring football game. That's not the case. I do think, and this is part of my unless it doesn't happen, Oklahoma has 17-plus points off turnovers in this game. Yeah. That's the avenue, I think, and that's the havoc that Brett Venables' defense is going to create, especially on the other side of the field. I think that's the avenue for Oklahoma to get points. I have Oklahoma winning this one 24-13.
I said that this is going to be a lot like the Texas versus Ohio State game, in my opinion.
A rock fight?
Yeah, just defensive battle for the most part. And I think that ultimately one of these quarterbacks is going to prosper in a big moment. And that's going to be one of the game's deciding factors. I think that quarterback is going to be John Mateer. I think he's going to create like an explosive play, a big moment for that team to put them over the top. So I have Oklahoma ultimately prevailing in this game in the second half. I have the final score being Oklahoma 24, Michigan 14.
Love it. Boys, there was a little tiff. I wouldn't even call it a tiff. Exchanging of words, rather, between Brian Kelly and Dabo Swinney today. Did y'all see this?
I did see this.
Dabo Swinney basically said, we both got our final exam day one of class. We got a 58. They got a 63. And Brian Kelly was paraphrased that quote at his press conference today. And Brian Kelly basically said, maybe in the first half, but I don't know if he watched the second half because we dominated. So I don't think he graded. He might have graded himself fairly, but maybe he didn't watch the second half. On top of this one, boys, don't know if you noticed, but Brian Kelly also went on Feinbaum and gave a shot at Feinbaum.
Yeah, he did.
I don't know how I feel about confident, arrogant, borderline cocky Brian Kelly.
It's not good for him. It's not good for his PR.
I also think it's kind of just him.
Yeah.
I think this is just the way he walks around life. And if that's okay, that's okay. I'm fine with that. But normally, like most football coaches do we still got a lot to work on. We got to get back to work. Can't have a letdown, can't have a setback. Wasn't satisfied with the performance. Not Brian. Brian went the other way.
Yeah, I mean, Brian Kelly definitely has arrived in that regard, in his mind at least, of like, I did it. I won the week 1 matchup. I beat a top 10 team on the road. I am here. Bow down to me. And he's definitely got that attitude. It's kind of funny to watch. Like, him chastising Paul Feinbaum was pretty entertaining. So
it wasn't even a chastise. It was such a good little subtle barb.
It was perfect.
You know, you took a big loss this weekend. Everybody knows what he's referring to. Everybody got a good shot.
Like, we saw Kirby Smart do the same thing when he was on with Feinbaum. Of like, Gunner got the message. Like, we're good. Like, that's all that matters. So the coaches team to probably have a great relationship with Paul to be able to do that. But as far as like, man, you win one week 1 game, and this is the avenue that we're taking. Like, all of a sudden, we're talking like we're top dog, which again, you kind of are. You're a top 3 team in the country. You got a great quarterback, but you also haven't gotten over the other hurdle that you've tend to have of losing games, like big, meaningful games late in the season that ultimately shatter the rest of your season. We got 11 more games to play, my man. So. Arrogant Brian Kelly is an interesting character.
It's entertaining, at least.
It is entertaining.
If it's not anything else, it's entertaining. And I think that's what Brian Kelly LSU has been so far.
All right, I do want to read some of these super chubs before we get into the local hour. B. Schaefer says, go Dogs. Trip Ryder says, film showed Chris Cole looking like Nolan Smith-esque. If you don't know what he's talking about, Billy Abstinence right here gives you the answer. Patreon Film Study hits different. Film Guy Network got my boys 12, 8, 8, and 3 locked on mesh concepts, leveraging the ball and wanting to run verts because they love ball in the neighborhood pickup games. Grateful. Billy, you got a gang of ball knowers. We love to see that. That's a big dub in the chat for Billy Abstinence tonight. Champ QB or Champ Beef 78-185 says, what if Nick Saban foresaw this and retired? We kind of already talked about that. AIC Cryptos, let's see if he's on the board. He gave us a super chub north of $50. Shout out to AIC Cryptos. We got to put him up on the board. Our man Jeremiah says, love you boys. May the peace of God overwhelm your lives. We love to see that in the chat as well. Aiden Panagos said, wanted to ask, when breaking down film, what app do you use on your iPad when making film breakdowns? It's a football app. Jonathan Dingle asked, is it just me or was barely beating Clemson not that impressive? It's just you. That film is nuts. That defense is nuts. Clemson's defense is a top 5 defense in this sport. I would go Clemson off a week 1 tape. I would go Clemson, not in any particular order. Clemson, Ohio State, Texas, Georgia, a 5th. Maybe LSU. LSU looked pretty damn good on Saturday. Miami, there's the 5. But they gave up 24 points to a pretty anemic CJ Carr and busted in a coverage late.
Busted coverage in a really, really good play by CJ Carr.
Yes,
14 points.
You're right.
So,
but there's a select few right there at the top, and I think that Clemson's one of them is what I'm trying to get at right there. All right, let's toss it to the local hour. We got another loaded one. We're going to hit a depth check to start it, I'm pretty sure.
Welcome into Talk the Dog, the show where we find a bone to pick and a take to give. These are not hot takes. These is dog takes. Can I talk that dog? What's up? You really like that? Let's shut up and grind some tape.
Oh, you didn't make it back in time.
Got it back.
You didn't make it back in time.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another hour here on the network. We got a loaded one for you as always, but I want to start our local hour with a quick shout out to our friends over at Whirling, Schilling, and Randall Insurance Company. 3 certified ball knowers, 3 generations of dog fans that love and support this channel. They're here to help with all your business, home, and auto and life insurance needs, serving Georgia and the Southeast from Marietta, Georgia since 1920. With great companies like the Hartford, Auto Owners, Travelers, Liberty Mutual, Geico, Hanover, Progressive, and much more. They have a free giveaway as well. Listeners of this show can email WT@WSRinsurance.com prior to Georgia games every week with your guess for the final score of that Saturday's game. And the first correct guess will get a $50 Amex gift card courtesy of Warling, Schilling, and Randall Insurance Company. Appreciate those guys over there at Warling, Schilling, and Randall Insurance Company, certified ball knowers and certified lovers and supporters of this network. Thank you, guys. All right, let's get into the local hour. Kirby had a press conference today. Our Kirby was there. I had things going on today. We got film notes as well from a defensive film study that was put up over on Patreon. If you're not a subscriber on Patreon, you need to be. Patreon.com/Brooks Austin. We also have our post week 1 depth check, and we have a fantasy update. Is that nose and nose, neck and neck, or is that somebody got smacked around, huh?
Yeah, somebody got beat to crap this week.
Somebody got beat pretty bad, huh?
Yeah.
They get their shoes knocked off?
Yeah. Don't know who it is yet. You have to stay tuned to find out.
Shoes knocked off, huh? Felt like a dig.
We'll see. Where do we want to start tonight? We want to start with film notes?
Let's do some film notes, man.
Let's do them. If you're curious about what I'm about to run down or what I watched or how I know this or where this came from, patreon.com/Brooks Austin. We had a 40-minute film study, defense only, over there on Patreon today. How that's going to work this summer or this season, guys, is you'll get that Monday film study on YouTube here publicly for everybody. It will be the primary theme that needs to be done, okay, from a Georgia football game. If the defense wins the football game, we'll watch defense. If there's a storyline or topic line to talk about, we will attack it, okay? The other studies will go on Patreon on Tuesdays as today's did, okay? So make sure you're running over there, patreon.com/Brooks Austin. Let's review this defensive film study. First and foremost, competitively deep in that box, particularly in that front six and even at corner, guys. I feel like there are 12 to 15 bodies on that defensive line in that linebacker room that are competing heavily for playing time. There is a difference between our backup is playable if our starter gets hurt and our backup is an NFL-bound football player, which I think is what you have at a lot of spots. Like, for example, Raylan Wilson had to take a jump because Chris Cole's a freak standing right behind him. Okay, Jordan Hall has to play with his hair on fire because Elijah Griffin already showed first snap of his freaking college career that he's ready for this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you have Dalen Everett sitting on the sideline, and you have Ellis Robinson, Daniel Harris, Dominic Kelly, and DeMello Jones rotating for 4 quarters, all of which I think are going to be NFL football players. All right, so there's a level of depth that you've always had, but there's a difference, again, between our backup can play if we get hurt and our backup so good that our starter is worried about the backup. You are so far deeper on the defensive side of the football than you have been in years prior.
And, you know, it's not just like depth, but it's like kind of what you're getting at of you add in a new player into the rotation and there isn't like any noticeable drop off in regards to like what you're really looking for in defensive speed or athleticism or twitch. Like, this entire defensive unit has tons and tons of speed and athleticism, and they were all doing their job. I mean, it wasn't like anybody was like, what are you doing, dude? You're clearly not ready to play. Like, even your freshmen, they looked ready.
And it's not even that the depth, you know, is so great. It's adding competition on the field. Mm-hmm. It's not when I walk out there as the starting corner or the starting linebacker or the starting safety, I'm the starting linebacker. It's I have to play well because the guy right behind me could very easily take my job. I feel like there's more pressure amongst players in that regard that forces them to play harder, forces them to compete more, and because the guy behind you might just be as good or even better sometimes.
The fire, passion, and energy shows up all over tape. I believe you were the one that asked today how you measure that.
Correct.
Is there a level of that? And he basically said, no, it shows up. It's obvious. We found 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 examples over the last 2 days of obvious signs of it. And I think this place, if you're as a Georgia fan looking for who's playing with that, who actually has that, I think it's very obvious to us when we watch it on film. First and foremost, if we had to give an FPE award this week, it would go to London Humphreys for me.
Yep. It
would go straight to London Humphreys, and then after that, we would have to find a close second. But number one, clear cut, London Humphreys, fire, passion, and energy winner. And if you want to know why, just watch our film studies and you'll see why. I do want to talk about the jump that Raylan is making right about now, because not only did he lead your team in tackles on Saturday, we showed you a pass rush move that shows me is obvious sign that Raylan Wilson spent all offseason working his butt off. You don't add things to your bag going into year 3 of college football unless you are an avid worker, and that's what we saw on tape from Raylan as well.
I think
body's changed
Riley
too.
Wilson was probably the most. I don't want to say improved because I wouldn't necessarily imply he's bad last year. I'll just say most improved from what we saw last year compared to this year. Not that he was bad last year, but this year he looks elite. This year he looks like he's taken that next step in the year 3 of the Glenn Schumann wide receiver or defensive back. Why am I tripping on my words right now?
It happens every once in a while.
Hey, mark that down, please.
It'll happen every once in a while.
Riley Wilson has definitely taken the next step, and that is what impressed me most out of anyone on that defense, I feel like.
Have I had a football moment tonight?
Well, now you're about to. C.J. Allen and Raylan Wilson, those two right now look like what Georgia fans would hope it would look like with them. Right now, it looks like you have 2 top 90 picks at the linebacker position, and you got 2 more of them waiting behind them. That's what Georgia fans want the linebacker position to look like, and this year it's going to look like that because of what the defensive line is showing that they can do, and it frees them up.
It was so refreshing to see 5, 6, 7, 8 hats to the football at all times.
Dude.
There was one specific tunnel screen where we paused the film as the ball was being tackled, and 10 of 11 football players were in the frame.
There was literally a dog pile on the guy carrying the ball.
And it was the one guy makes a tackle, and then the 5 guys sprint their butt off to the ball and add in a hat. Like I know it's Marshall, and I kept saying that during the film study today, but like the more I'm for the first time in a year, like really excited to turn Georgia tape on. That's fun for me. Well, they're not all fun to watch. Ole Miss was not fun to watch last year. Notre Dame was definitely not fun to watch last year because it didn't look like Georgia football. I got guys blowing assignments week 15. Are you kidding me? Like, gross.
Well, here's the thing yes, it is Marshall, but the things that we're noticing on tape, it doesn't matter who the opponent is.
None.
Those are things that you have to do. Like, that's just being disciplined. That's just caring. That's just bringing energy into a football game, and that's giving a crap about what you're doing. Everybody on that defense was doing it with intentions of this is what I have to do. Like, for what we were talking about of like pushing the ball back inside. Like vice defense, leveraging the football, those types of things. Like, it doesn't matter if it's Marshall or if it's against the Cleveland Browns. Like, those are things you have to do no matter who you play, and they were doing them.
Again, no, it's Marshall, but I thought the coverage looked exceptionally sticky. Now, Kirby said that there were some improper eyes and whatever. Like, I'm not getting that nerdy about their defensive coverage because A, I don't know what they're playing. B, I don't know how they're teaching it or coaching it. But maybe one day if they let me in their building, I might be able to figure some of this stuff out, like some of their colleagues and competitors allow. But nonetheless, I don't expect that as a local beat reporter. That's never going to happen. I don't expect them to ever do that. We've had that conversation. But no, the coverage was elite, I thought, from a man-to-man perspective, and even some of the mixed coverage that they were using, or some of the like mixed match coverage that they were playing was exceptional as well. And Dalen didn't even play.
No,
best of all of them. Best of all of them. I got numbers written down: 52, Krista Miller, Xavier McLeod, Elijah Griffin, Gabe Harris, Quintavious Johnson, and Jordan Hall. Those 6 players, if that's all you rotated at your 4 down spots, you're going to be plenty good. You're going to be plenty good. Those guys are damn good football players. I think they all play on Sundays. So there's that. I love seeing week 1, tape 1, KJ Bolden's play strength show up and show signs of improvement. Not that it was a problem last year, but just from a longevity standpoint, I don't want a 185-pounder throwing his body everywhere every Saturday like he does. Doing it at 192, 193, and 194, whatever he is right now, that makes me feel a whole hell of a lot better about him. And I love that they let him play some rat. I don't know if y'all saw that. They let him float in the middle of the field and cover one robber, play the low hole, let his eyes take him to the football. But I think the most important thing about what I learned on that Georgia film study today on the defensive side of the football, most importantly, I think it's going to hurt to play Georgia again. I think it's going to hurt to go 4 quarters against that defense. I think you're going to need ice baths and ibuprofen for the first time in a couple of years because they're going to relentlessly pursue the football and they're going to tackle it hard when they get there. They are fast, they close, they strike, they celebrate, they start over. They're fast, they close, they strike, they celebrate, they start over. That was what was on film Saturday. And for the first time in a long time, ibuprofen and ice baths. That's that type of defense. That's what I want to watch play.
This would be an indicator for me of like, it's going to hurt to play Georgia this year is Kyron Jones started for Georgia at safety on Saturday. And while he didn't make a play, like there wasn't a point in time on film where you're like, wow, Kyron Jones, my God. But that dude had a club on his hand and it was in a game in which he did not have to play. Typically in that scenario, it's probably like, we're just going to hold you out, dude. There's no need, but clearly he wanted to play and he was still playing physically. Like they don't care. They don't care about themselves almost. Like that's the mentality that I kind of saw of like, they don't care. It's all about what we have to do as a defense.
You don't hear this word thrown. You hear this word thrown around a ton for Georgia. You haven't heard it in a while. Junkyard dogs, and Georgia fans know exactly what I'm talking about. You didn't hear that talked about this team last year of how that defense is like the Junkyard dogs. You heard that in 2021. You heard that in 2022. Heard it a little bit in 2023. And like you said, it hurts to play Georgia's defense this year, especially. I feel like that's what the absolute embodiment of a, quote, Junkyard dog is.
I think of two hits from Saturday. Elo Mendoza about damn near killed Davis Wilson.
Yes.
About took his head off. And did you see CJ Allen almost break a kid's ribs on the sideline? That's nothing but fire, passion, and energy.
The first fill by CJ Allen, I think it was like the first drive where I think the quarterback kept it.
Yeah, there's a great fill on tape, but there's also you just ran 30 yards when you didn't have to, and it ended up falling in your lap. An absolute, I just took that kid's rib cage and soul on the sideline.
The crazy part about the play you're talking about, though, Kirby, of him filling in is he was flat-footed. This guy was not like beaming down the gap. I mean, that guy was basically flat-footed and pushed him back a couple of yards.
I'm excited, dude.
I am excited. Hey, speaking of excitement, you had your second Kirby Smart press conference today.
I did. I got to
give me some Kirby Smart presser notes, man.
All right. So first note, obviously, will always bring me like the most important. Number one, no limp.
Oh, no limp
again.
A healthy Kirby.
A healthy Kirby. We'd love to see that.
Have we had a limp this?
Not since spring. Not since spring. Plantar fasciitis, comes and goes. That's what I think it is. That's my hypothesis. We got a little plantar fasciitis in the left foot of one Kirby Smart.
Maybe next time I'll ask him.
Yeah.
That'll be they'll drag me out of that.
Nah. I've asked dumber questions than, hey, coach, why the limp?
That's fair. Anyways, first question.
I mean, what would he rather ask? Hey, coach, why the limp? Or, hey, coach, why didn't y'all actually sit Jaw Jackson or something stupid like that?
That's true.
It'd be a good, like, hey, we got time for one more question. There you go.
Yeah.
There's that coming up. Spoiler alert. First question I was asked.
Wait a minute. Y'all didn't run it to the shot clock.
Oh, no,
they
did.
Leland said, got time for one more question. We'll get to the last
question was asked.
One of my probably one of my favorite Kirby Smart moments on the mic.
Really?
But anyways, first question that was asked, hey, coach, how'd you think the O-line did? Did some good things. Pleased with the way they played. He said the stamina was not great, though. Felt like towards the end of that game, some of the players that don't necessarily get in a lot were kind of waning. Was asked about, multiple quarterbacks having, hey, there's been a lot of dual threat quarterbacks in college football right now, and we're seeing a lot more teams go for it on fourth down. Do you think there's a correlation?
Sounds like a Seth Emerson question.
It was not. It was a Mike Griffith question.
Seth always gives good analytical data when he asks questions. That's why I thought.
Well, the way Mike asked was like, there's a lot of parity in college football, and there's a lot of mobile quarterbacks. Do you think that's leading to more fourth down attempts? And Coach Smart basically said, I agree that we're seeing more fourth down attempts, but I think that's more based on analytics than anything else than just having mobile quarterbacks. Mobile quarterbacks have always been in the game, referencing guys like Tim Tebow, Cam Newton. Then obviously was asked how the corners played with Dalen not on the field. Said that he's more worried about the process than the results. Talked about how, yes, we didn't give up any big explosives. We didn't do anything. The results were fine, but some of the processes and how we got there was not. Did you use your leverage technique properly? Were your eyes in the right position? Some of those things that he wants to fix and clean up, because obviously process is more important than results. I've always talked about. We got an injury update. Dalen Everett dealing with an ankle injury, should be able to ramp it up as the week continues. Hopeful to get him back. We gave a quick update for Ernest and Juan Gaston. Hopeful to get these guys back by the end of the week, but only time will tell. Very in-depth from Coach Smart here. Got a Roderick Robinson update because he didn't play in the game. He was noticeably absent. Revealed that he's dealing with a hamstring injury. Was going to try to go Saturday, but ultimately they didn't want to press it. Micah Morris has a club on his hand. I think some people noticed that. Said that there's an opportunity for him to go down to a smaller cast that allows his fingers to go free, but he's not exactly sure when that will happen. It's more of a Micah Morris comfort thing. Next was asking Ellis Robinson, hey, what are the improvements that he has made this offseason that you've seen in week one? Said that he has improved his stamina, his ability to play the level that he plays at consistently from the first play to the last play. Said that he's bought into the things that you need to do to get on the field. Talked about zone checks, eyes, being able to get into motions and all of these things. Says that he basically said that Ellis realized that that's the stuff that's keeping him off the field, and that's what he needed to work on through the offseason. Was asked about what the Austin Peay defense and what he thought about that. Twitchy, quick, disruptive. They actually faced this defensive coordinator last season against Tennessee Tech. His name's Greg Jones. So
Tremendous amount of respect.
didn't actually hit a tremendous amount of respect. Maybe not
they're
a Greg
hanging
Jones
up 70
fan.
this weekend.
He
You
said
heard it
he
here
did.
first.
He did.
No tremendous amount of respect. They're hanging up 70.
He did say, though, we got to play our best game. It's not as simple of, we have bigger and better players. We can just go out there and run them over. So he kind of hit maybe he's heard us, hammer home the tremendous amount of respects too much. Then he was asked again about two-dimensional quarterbacks. And, hey, what's the difficulty of facing a guy that can run the football and pass the football? Had a very thoughtful answer to this. He said, it depends on what the degree of their dimensions are. Because if you have a quarterback that is a 10 out of 10 running the football, it's likely that he's probably not at the same level as a passer. When you're good at one thing, you don't get as much work at the other. That's a direct quote from him. Was then asked about Dwight Phillips. Said his biggest progression of the offseason was working in the weight room. They said, when we talked about it, Dwight Phillips has put on some good muscle, put on some good weight. He believes that he's still work in progress, but they put him through a rigorous weight training program throughout the offseason. Dwight Phillips actually talked about that. We got him today as well. Said the safeties didn't get tested as much as he wanted to on Saturday. Emphasized that they're going to get tested this afternoon, so they probably had a rough day of practice on Tuesday. Was asked about Ryan Puglisi's performance. He got in, got to sling the rock around a couple of times. Says he's a great arm talent. He's shown us on Saturday what we've seen all through practice. We will continue to develop him and Ryan Montgomery and all the other guys in that room as well. Very traditional Kirby Smart answer. This was an interesting one from Mark Weiser. He was asked about how important are turnovers to you for defense, and then referenced some of those great teams, the 2021 team, the 2022 team, weren't necessarily on the top of the nation in turnovers. And Coach Smart basically said, I'm not necessarily sure why these numbers are down. It might be teams are taking less risk against us. We didn't have as many opportunities on this Saturday. I think they were only on the field 55 times for defensive plays, and they did not take advantage of the ones they had. And he reiterated, that's something that we need to get better as a team, taking advantage of the opportunities we get, because it seems like we get less opportunities than these other defenses just because of the way it plays with us. Was asked, hey, what's the next step for Gunnar Stockton? Continue to gain confidence and trust within the offensive line. Said he was very happy with how he improvised Saturday, did a really good job of taking care of the football, was proud of that, obviously showcased fire, passion, and energy. That was what led me to my question. Hey, Coach, fire, passion, and energy, is it something that's just it when you see it, or is there analytical data? Because this is one of the most analytical teams we've seen. I mean, you've heard Kirby Smart reference analytics multiple times. Said no, there's no analytics that we need to follow it. It's an inherent trait that we see in guys and we don't. And we do see it. We want to expose that and bring it out in everyone else. That's kind of what he went there.
For me, it's the flashes of both. It's the high ends of effort and the clearly you ain't tryings. And those are what you expose. You show your team the play we showed of Chris Cole today during defensive film study, where he gives a speed rush, dives for the quarterback, doesn't get his feet, pops right back up, sprints his butt to the ball, dives again, and finally gets the quarterback down. That right there is fire, passion, and energy. That's what that looks like. I guarantee you fire, passion, and energy to this football staff looks like Gunnar Stockton scoring a touchdown and turning around and pointing at his teammate they made a big block.
Yep.
Right? That's probably what that's what passion looks like, right? We know what fire and energy looks like, but do you love playing the game too? That's really, really important. Do you show like you love the game when it happens for you? That's important.
All right, one of the final questions before a clip we'll go to is he was asked about, hey, running backs, which ones have stood out to you? As you would expect, he listed off everyone. All these guys have had a great camp. The next question is probably the one that's went most viral today. Is he was asked about, hey, fan attendance, Coach, what are your thoughts on that? And what are some ways to incentivize getting more fan attendance? We actually have the clip, so Jay will go to that now.
Yeah, given how successful you guys have been as a program over the years and the fan turnout is what it was on Saturday, what, if anything, do you think can be done to better incentivize better fan turnout?
Better incentivize? I don't know that you incentivize the turnout. It's not, I don't really believe in incentivizing things. I think it has to be a core DNA trait, a belief. You know, when we sell things, it's, I will do this if you do this, and incentivize. I don't think that's great motivation. You know, I think it's intrinsic in who you are. I think people should love to be at a Georgia home game because there's only so many of them. It's limited opportunities. It's the same thing about our players. We don't incentivize them to run to the ball by saying we'll go up in your NIL if you run to the ball. You got to do it because you want to be great. You got to do it because you want to be different. And if our fans want to be great and different, then they'll do it.
So yeah, very interesting quote there. Kind of if probably fans remember this. You remember in 2021 the "you're either elite or you're not" phrase.
Yeah, that
very much felt reminiscent of that. Of like, hey, I shouldn't have to incentivize you to come to these football games. I shouldn't have to incentivize you to cheer for our fans. You get 6 or 7 of these a year. If you want to be that, if you want to live up to the standard that we have set for ourselves within this building, you're either elite or you're not. And I think that's probably what the best way to put that.
I believe students get their tickets for free, right?
No.
It's a very small part. It's like it's a lot.
How do students get awarded?
It's like $10 a ticket, right?
Yeah, you sign up, you put in a deposit. Basically.
But you are lucky to get those, right?
For sure.
Yeah,
100%.
For sure.
I don't think that should ever empty out. I don't think that section should ever empty out. I came out of halftime and it was wiped. North or east of the band, completely gone. Everybody gone. Now look, I understand if you're a family of 4 and you have 2 young ones that are at that stadium and it's hot and they're up 45-7 and you want to beat traffic, by God, you get to leave, buddy. You just spent $300 for one ticket to watch them beat the hell out of Marshall. I'm with you. Okay, I am 100% with you. But you student, just because you want to go get drunk downtown, no. You need to be elite. Matter of fact, I need you screaming. I don't need the 3-year-old that's watching his first Georgia game ripping his head off. I need you loud. So I'm with him, but I'm not. I'm with him in the student section. I need y'all to show up and stay. All right. Y'all got plenty of time in downtown Athens to drink. Lord knows that's what you do 6 days out of the week anyway. So y'all got plenty of time to go do that. Y'all do it on Thursday night. Y'all do it on Friday night. You're going to do it on Saturday night. Just give me an extra 90 minutes before you go do it. I don't think that's unreasonable. But the people that empty out the upper decks that, got a long way to drive home and their kids are tired, I'm okay with them leaving when you're beating the hell out of Marshall.
Yeah, and the upper deck that's directly above the student section is also part of the student section.
Correct.
That didn't fill up all the way. That was still pretty sparse come game time. So it's very obvious that there might be some complacency amongst...
I wish he would do this to his students. Don't generalize the entire fan base. Do this to your student section.
I just think it's okay for a head coach to want his fan base to show up. Mm-hmm. I don't think that it's okay for him, and he didn't call you out by any means. He was just like, if they want to be elite, then they'll be elite, and they'll show up, and they'll stay for all 4 quarters. And look, we all know the deal of they're not going to do it for Marshall, but when Alabama rolls to town, and when Texas rolls to town, and when any of those other big matchups come in to Athens, they're going to stay, and they're going to be loud for the entire football game. They just pick and choose when they want to bring the energy levels up.
Yeah. So that
also, as a football coach, you got to pick and choose when you say this.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
you got another snoozer at noon this week, and then you go on the road, and then you're on the road again at Auburn, and you don't have a big time home game until Alabama comes to town.
Alabama's between Tennessee
and Auburn.
It's Austin Peay, Tennessee, bye week,
Alabama. So I say this during the bye week.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I challenge them. I don't tell them you're either a leader or you're not.
Yeah.
Or, I'm with you. I don't think the quote was all that bad, but it's going to get ran with. Hey, another friend of the show, if you got Brandon Adams tweeting about it, it might have been a foot and mouth moment. Brandon is a Georgia guy, okay, and a Kirby guy. That's the first time in 7 years doing this I think I've ever seen Brandon be in disagreement with the head football coach.
Public
disagreement with the head football coach.
Very much so. All right, final 2 questions here. This was another interesting one. It was asked, hey, Coach Smart, does it bother you when 2s come in and you're pitching a shutout and they go and give that shutout up? Does that bother you? The standard of all that? And he went to, again, we don't really care about statistics and all that.
Process over results, Kirby.
That as well. He said, we play more players than anyone else on Saturday. We do that to see development. That is a developmental play for us. We do that. That's why we're able to reload. The players that get in for the last 10 minutes of a football game, that's important to us. It's not as much about keeping scores as developing these players. He had a banger of a quote here. I'd rather the kid cost me a touchdown in that game than give up a touchdown next season during an SEC matchup. And I think that is the epitome of what his mindset is. Shutout be damned. I'd rather have you make that mistake here and learn, so when it comes to the next year, when you're playing with the ones, you don't make it again. Final question that he was asked, you get to the 15-minute mark, and Leland says, all right, we got time for one more question. This final question was, hey, Coach, can you kind of expound upon what Juan Gaston and Ernest Green are dealing with? What are the injuries? What's the extent of them? All that. And he goes, yeah, they are lower extremity injuries. Thank you very much. And walks off the podium. It was an absolute masterclass from Kirby Smart.
Did you get some chuckles from the media party?
You got a couple of silent, like, oh, yeah, he does that. I was sitting next to Ben Woke, and he looked at me and was like, yeah.
It'd be like that.
It was fun, though, right?
He's got an ankle.
Yeah, literally.
He's got an ear.
The fact that was the walk off the stage question,
follicles.
Though.
I think that was the first time I've seen a walk off where he's like,
he breathes oxygen.
It's fun to watch. Like I know it bothers people within the beat who are trying to do their job, but when you kind of know what he is going to say to your question and then he still dunks it on you, it's very fun to watch.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got a couple of things out of Ellis Robinson, but they didn't necessarily weren't pressed on too many questions. Ellis talked about his first start, having nerves when he was down there. Happy that his teammates believed in him. Said that Ryan Puglisi is a really good athlete. Obviously talking about how SEC football is much different than what he was playing in high school. Says that he believes that the receiving core Georgia has is the best in the nation. That's another interesting one. We got Dwight Phillips after that. Said, experiencing his first touchdown immediately. Hey, Dwight, what stood out to you most? Immediately went to credit his teammates. Saw them blocking for me. That's the first thing that stood out to me. Was asked about how he got the Peanut nickname. And this was when I leaned forward in my seat. I'm like, oh, we're about to get some very, very good.
You leaned forward, huh?
I was like, oh,
the moment built.
Forward on the nut.
Come on, man.
Go ahead.
Come on, man.
Go ahead.
Come on, man. So my ears perk up. I'm like,
your ears perked up.
My ears perked up. I'm like, where
perking up for Peanut?
Where did this nickname come from? He goes, I think Coach Muschamp said it in a team meeting one time, and it just stuck. Like it's as simple as that. Coach Muschamp was just like Peanut, and they've run with that since. So that was very interesting. That's basically all we got from that. Said that spring was very fun. He enjoyed the weightlifting part of it. The other part, Ben Wilkerson, is there anyone on this team that can keep up with you in a 100-meter dash? Who do you think he said?
This is Dwight Phillips talking?
Yes.
Daniel Harris?
KJ Bolden.
Really?
That's what he said.
A non-track runner, too. Mm-hmm. I mean, he ran track, but I think he stopped the last 2 years of high school football.
That sounds about right.
So that's all I've got from the pressers today. Hopefully that was an in-depth analysis.
That's good stuff, man.
Good job.
Hey, a little golf clap for Christian Kirby.
Way to show up for work.
Yeah, try to. Man.
Where do you sit?
So I sit middle left-ish. Like, I don't know.
You got to go front row left seat. Leland told me you didn't know where to sit.
Oh, he did?
Front row left seat's my seat.
Okay.
I didn't sit there when I went
know you
either.
didn't. I'm just letting you know that we have a reserved seat. It's front row, front left.
Oh, I mean, that would have been nice to know before.
Now you know.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Because they block off that first row.
That's why you sit to the left of that, so you can still be front row Joe.
I was still in that section, so.
Yeah, no. We're front row Joeing.
I'll keep that in mind next time.
Hopefully there's not a next time, but there might be.
I'd like to go. I mean,
I got left standing in a parking lot today for 90 minutes.
I mean, if you want me to go to those, I'd be happy to.
No, I enjoy asking the ball coach questions. And do you say, hey, coach, or do you say, hey, Kirby?
Oh, hey, coach.
Yeah, you're respectful.
Well, it's too confusing. Am I talking to myself?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Am I talking to myself or am I talking to Coach Smart?
I mean, it's just basic respect, in my opinion.
Yeah.
A dude to become a head football coach, you have to go through so many ups and downs. Mm-hmm. To me, it's no different than earning the right to be called doctor.
Yeah.
Like if you earn the right to be a head football coach in Division I football, the media should address you as coach. That's the way I feel, and that's the way I think I'm always going to feel. Now, there are some journalists that believe their job is just as important as the guy that they're covering his job. I'm just not one of them. I'm just not one of them. Nor does my salary indicate that. You know what I mean? Do you have anything else before we get into our fantasy update?
No, I believe that was all we've got from the pressers today.
We have a fantasy update. I'm holding this depth check. All right.
All right, go ahead and spin the camera over there, Kirby. We have it written up on the whiteboard.
It's bad, huh?
Oh, it was so bad. Zachariah Branch went for about 110 points this weekend, and that was all Kirby needed to beat me because I didn't even get to the century mark. Noah Thomas not being involved too much was not good news for me. I think my Chauncey Bowens pickup, though, is looking pretty solid, but Nate Frazier, 58 points for you. Colby Young even got you 32, and Oscar Delp got you 35 with the help of an explosive. Defensively, though, Kirby, a little lacking a little bit. I think the stat sheet was lying a little bit, but I couldn't confirm, so I held it even for both of us. So it was a walk-away event for Kirby in week 1 because he had 2 of the best offensive players. So we'll have to see how the rest of the season goes. Maybe we change up something. I don't know. We'll see.
Shout out to Sleeper. Both you boys were sleeping on Peanut.
And that's why I'm saying maybe we'll see. I don't know.
I mean, that running back room, picking anyone other than Nate Frazier was such a you don't know who it's going to be. And it just so happened that Dwight Phillips exploded this weekend. We don't know if it's going to. Don't do it. We don't know if that's going to be the case from here on out, or if it's just that was a one-off weekend. So
Peanut busted out of his shell this weekend.
That's right.
Yeah,
sure did.
That's a nice, easy way of saying that. I think Juan's going to be fine. I think we would have found out he had high ankle surgery already if he did.
Yeah.
If he had any type of tightrope, we would have already known. So I think that's going to be however long it takes for a regular ankle injury to repair itself. Let's go to the board, I guess, and let's do this depth check. We have a week. We have a game of college football under Georgia's belt. So we have a general thought process about who's where and who's playing what and all that good stuff. So let's take it to the board and jot it out for you guys. All right? I don't have a pen over here. Gosh darn it. We got one over here on the desk, I'm pretty sure. Yep, here we go. All right. So start with the quarterback position. Nice and simple. Okay, Gunner, Ryan. Ain't nothing changed. Okay, I guess we can talk about it if you want. But they didn't do much. I thought the most impressive thing about Gunner on Saturday, he was playing on time. All right, he was playing on time and relatively accurate when he ultimately decided to pull the trigger. There was a couple of turn downs on tape that we need to encourage him to rip the football when we call plays to rip the football. Other than that, I thought he had a really good day. Okay, so there is the depth chart and how these things are kind of staggered. Melander right up after this, and then the homie Coulter again, friend of the show. Okay.
Simple enough.
Any questions?
Nope.
No questions.
By the way,
far.
I've already seen it on social media. Block anybody that's starting to. We need to play the backup conversations. Just go ahead, hit block. Don't acknowledge them. Move forward, guys. Imagine how cool it would be. Imagine how cool it would be to cover and for you to root for a football team that actually loves their quarterback. That sure would be refreshing. To get behind a young man and support him. That sure would be cool. It also helps that he's the best in the room. All right, so there's that. Let's move on to the running back position, shall we?
Let's do it.
Now, I had somebody hop into my mentions on YouTube calling us non-ball knowers for not, quote unquote, knowing the roster right here with the running back room. I think we know it pretty damn well based off what happened in week 1. You got Nate right there at the top spot. Right after that, it's pretty clear to me that it's Dwight Phillips. And then after that, it's Chauncey Bowens. Okay, and then after that, it's who can get healthy and get onto the field for us apart from Cash. Now, I'm going to put Cash over here by himself because to me, Cash is a third down back and we've got a break tendency back. All right, so we have to get Cash an occasional tote every now and then, or else every time he's on the field, they're going to know we're passing the football. So we got one, I think, traditional carry on Saturday. It's a tendency breaker. That's all it is, okay? We got to make sure we get that guy in there and run the football every once in a while so they don't think every time he's in there, we're passing the football and they start to key in on those pass opportunities, right? I would honestly go Bo Walker right here and then McCray, and now Rod's banged up. I wasn't quite listening. I'm sorry. What did Kirby say Rod's problem was?
Hamstring. Said that he probably could have gone, but they didn't want to push it.
All right. So just having all kinds of problems staying healthy at this point. All right. But that's kind of how it's shaking out right now. Everybody agree?
Agree.
Let's move on. Let's go over to the tight ends room. This is another one that I think had a relatively interesting development yesterday. I've got two groups right here. I've got Oscar, I've got Lawson, and I've got Ethan Barbour playing in that first team unit. All right, that's the way they're rotating. And then it's Riddell, All right, and it's Elias. How do we get those guys reps and how do we get them on the field? And then if we're up 30, it's Colton Heinrich. Okay, that's what's got going on right now at the tight end room. I think this was the big surprise on Saturday to see that guy essentially start for this football team. All right, and the real question is he going to work his way into being the guy that there's on the field when they're in a full 12 this year, right? We saw it when they went 12 personnel on Saturday. It was a lot of Delp and Oscar or Lawson playing together. Does Ethan work his way, knocking one of those older guys out by the end of the season? I don't put it past him. He's had really good tape so far, and all the way dating back to fall camp and spring ball.
Could that become a Jurasic, Lucky, Delp situation like you had last season?
I think it already is, Kirby. They were playing all three.
Right.
I think if we snap counted them, which we don't do the snap counts, I bet if you PFF them right now, they weren't off by much in terms of snap count. In fact, I wouldn't be shocked if Ethan got more snaps than some of those older guys. Could have been a week one type of deal, though. All right, hey, let's start with the offensive line. Nice and simple. Monroe over here, left tackle. He is an elite offensive tackle prospect right about now. Love what I saw on tape week one from him. Now, we're going to put Juan in there at the top, and we'll make adjustments here in just a second, as we will with Ernest. When Juan went out on Saturday, they put Daniel Calhoun in there, and then the next series rotated him with Michael Unai. All right, that's what I noticed on film there. When Ernest went out on Saturday, they immediately slid Bo Hewley in at right tackle. Okay, when Monroe Freeling went out due to we're beating the hell out of Marshall, all right, John Jackson came in at left guard or left tackle. Okay, and the other guy that I think is working his way into a travelable backup is Cortez Smith right there. If you count that up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that's 10. That's a full travel squad right there of offensive linemen. Okay, I think that's the tight 10 we kind of play with this year. When Malachi Tolliver gets back healthy, I think we make him and Cortez Smith battle it out during practice to see who ultimately travels with us. But I don't even know if there are travel limitations anymore on what you can actually take in conference play. You got to look on your face like you never knew that there was.
I'm just like, that's a good question, especially with the roster.
Yeah, like, is there a limit on what you can take on the road nowadays? Used to there was. That's why we had to get down to a travel squad type of bunch. But that's what the travel 10 would be for me. All right, let's go on to the wide receivers group. All right, we're going to separate this into playables units, right? The rotational units that they actually had. The two players that I think are actually starter caliber is Zach Branch, okay, and his backup Zakovi. Those two will play with the starting unit this year at the slot position, it seems. At Z, it's really London Humphreys getting breathers every once in a while by Dylan Bell, and their backup is Talon Taylor. All right, 14 plays into the game on Saturday. They took a deep shot for Talon Taylor, a true freshman. He's going to play a lot this year. Obviously, the exposition is nice and simple. It's Colby and Noah. That, to me, is your first unit wide receivers. All right, those are the guys right now you're going to be calling upon in crunch time.
And it's also...
Sorry, no, you go first.
I would say it's interesting because the Dylan Bell part of this is very, very unique. Because, yes, it probably is that he is very similar to that Z body type. That's kind of what they wanted to play last year. But it looked like on Saturday they were really trying to get him into that kind of gadgety role.
His first touch was an end around.
Exactly. They had him running end arounds. They had him running deep outs. They had him at the Z sometimes. I think they even had him in the slot at one point. Going to be very interesting to see what they use.
They were trying to hide him. There was a play where he was hiding behind the right tackle, trying to keep him disguised from the defense. So they're certainly trying to make plays for him.
Or at least trying to make the defense think of something else.
Yeah.
Like when he's on the field, we got to find him, locate him. Where's he at? That's another thing we got to think about. That's another additive to the prep that the opposition has to prepare for. So that's a good point right there. Let's flip over to the defensive side of the football, starting with the defensive line. Okay, now I'm separating the defensive line into three categories. I don't think they're really playing a true nose tackle right now. They're kind of making Xavier McLeod and Kristen Miller do both roles, depending upon what the offense does in front of them. So let's separate these categories into D tackle, defensive end, and jacks right here on the line of scrimmage. That's what I think the separation in these categories ultimately is. Right now, it's Kristen Miller right here at the top of this D tackle board. All right, Xavier McLeod right after him. Jordan Hall right after him. And then very, very close, nipping on everybody's heels, I don't know why I went X there, is Elijah Griffin, obviously the 5-star out of Savannah Christian. Guys, he looks stamped in the defensive film we watched today. First clip, he's stonewalling two veteran Marshall offensive linemen and not giving up a single inch of ground. Joshua Horton also played a lot of snaps on Saturday, and we told you going into the season they felt like they were going to have to get some burn out of him. And I also felt like Jordan Thomas deserves to be in this mix of playable defensive tackles at this moment. Guys, that's deep as hell. I remember at one point a couple years ago, Nas Stackhouse and Warren Brinson are getting kind of rolled in the interior of your defensive line against Alabama, and you ain't really got no options because Kristen Miller's got a shoulder injury, and y'all just don't have bodies. Jordan Hall's out. Y'all have nothing to throw at it, all right, and you're getting rolled. I don't think that's going to be the case this year with those 6 bodies. Those are really, really good football players. There's some young guys we're not even talking about right there. Defensive end is pretty cut and dry with Gabe Harris, okay, JJA, and Justin Green. Guys, I felt like played damn good football on Saturday. When I turned the tape on, 91 was flashing on a Georgia tape, and I never thought that was going to be the case coming out of high school, to be honest with you. Q Johnson is obviously your starting jack, okay? I'm putting Chris Cole as the backup there, all right? And then right after him, we're going Elo Madozie, the transfer from Army, with Chris Jones down here. Honestly, I think Chris Jones might be a little too low. Chris Jones got basically second-teamer starts on Saturday. Now, I do believe, Jonathan, there is a sense of let's play the loyalty guys in this first start. I think Kyron Jones started Saturday, but might not start this weekend. Yeah. Right? I think Chris Jones got a bunch of burn on Saturday, but Elo Madozie might get a lot of those snaps on this Saturday. Right? When you go to Neyland next week, who knows what those rep shares are going to look like. I think they played the loyalty game to start the season, and I appreciate that about that program.
Do you think their transition away from a traditional zero technique is solely based on what they have in that room right now?
Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with we want to be this. I think if they had a choice, they'd be taking Jordan Davis all over again. If they had a choice, they'd have a 6'6", 360-pound nose tackle. They'd have Big Citrus if they had a choice. They don't have a choice right now. They're hoping that Nnamdi Ogboko can turn into that. All right, and I didn't quite see a bunch of flash off of Nnamdi this weekend, so we'll have to take a look at it further on the tape as we get throughout the week. But that's what I got right now in terms of defensive line rotations. Let's move on to the linebackers. Everybody good? Everybody good?
Yeah.
All right, everybody's good. Let's move on to the star position. Okay, I thought we actually got some intel here Saturday. Jonell played really, really well, and then after him, the future we found out is Rayshawn Dinkins. How about that?
Sure did.
The kid from Warner Robins, Rayshawn Dinkins. Now, he had some growing pains, missed his first tackle, but then immediately stuck his nose in there and got a big stick on play number 2. So how about Dink there at the star position? I didn't really see a secondary rotation after that.
No.
I didn't see anybody else really playing star on Saturday. I felt like Jonell got a ton of reps, and then Dink got in there midway through the 4th.
Definitely.
I do wonder when Dalen Everett comes back what he will look like in this rotation, because they very clearly love those corners.
They also very clearly don't want to pick between one of them corners.
No, they do not.
So, so much so that, I think Dalen could have played this week. I think Dalen definitely could play this week. And Dalen might be on the sideline again this week because why not? Why not just play the young guys that need the burn and need the attention? So there is that. All right. Let's go to the safety spot. Still don't think we have too much clarity here other than a little bit of a shocker, right? It's KJ over here. And then seeing Kyron Jones starting Saturday was a little bit of a surprise to me. Not just to start, but to play majority of the snaps. I don't think another safety until Zion Branch came in midway through the 3rd or 4th quarter. I don't think they played another safety.
I think Adrian Maddox got some burn pretty early.
He did. So you think this is flip-flop? You think Adrian Maddox is right here?
I think I remember seeing him first.
Look. I did see 14 on the tape pretty frequently.
Adrian Maddox was on the field a good bit.
Let's flip-flop those two. All right. And then the guy I can't figure out is where's Ja'Cory Thomas?
I saw him in one clip that we watched today. I saw a number 20 flash on the screen.
All right, but this guy's got a hold on the start for right now. At least going into it. So we'll see.
Seems like it.
What it ultimately looks like. I think this is the deepest position on the team, though. I honestly believe this.
Yeah.
Top 90 pick, Dalen Everett. Soon to be top 90 pick, Daniel Harris. Maybe a first rounder when he's done, Ellis Robinson. And by the way, we're just going to put those at both 2. I think that's unfair. They're both 2. So let's make this 3 because they clearly can't pick between them. All right. And then 3, you got DeMello, who they think's an NFL football player. And 4, Dominic Kelly, who I know and I believe to be a football player. All right, NFL football player. Kirby, we are a channel that thinks Dominic Kelly is going to be the best corner on Georgia's roster in 18 months.
Yeah.
24 months.
The tape that kid's put on in just, I think, a spring game and what we saw on Saturday has been very, very impressive. And it's not just the tape, the body type, the way he gets in and out of breaks.
Yep.
I mean, all of it is
football instincts.
Yes.
Comes from IMG Academy. Early reclass kids, so he's young for his age or young for his grade. There is so much there in Dominic Kelly's future at the University of Georgia. Man, he's going to be a great football player, and it appears to me he's going to be patient. Mm-hmm. You know, I haven't heard a word about, oh my God, the room's deep, we might lose so and so. I haven't heard any of that.
Well, I mean,
from anybody.
He's getting burned right now.
Yeah.
Like, he got serious burn on Saturday. He was not on the field when it was, oh, hey, the game's in hand. Here's your reps, little buddy. Like, he was getting actual plays that mattered in that game.
We got anything else?
Yeah, we need to give a big old shout out and show some footage from our friends over with H2All.
Oh, this is awesome. Our friends over at H2All, if you haven't been paying attention here, we got a new water sponsor on here. Not just high quality H2All, it is a purpose, right? It is a product with a purpose. Every bottle helps bring clean water and better health to someone who needs it. Scan to follow your drop's journey, the lives it reaches, the ripples it creates, and the real changes it makes. Your purchase, your impact. H2All, every portion of every bottle sold, all right, goes to the direct water crisis around the world. And they sent us a very special video today. Jonathan, I'm glad you reminded me of it right here at the end of the show where we have our biggest audience. Play this video because they broke ground today on their first water well in Uganda.
Hey, Brooks, it's real, man. This is a project that we're doing currently right now. We're live in Uganda, Africa. H2All is funding this project, and we just hit water, bringing water to over 8,000 people here in the bush. It's an unbelievable celebration today, and we thought it would be really important to you to bring it up to date and welcome you to the journey, man. Let's go.
Shout out again to H2All. That's H2All.com. Run over there, get a huge order of water put in, and get your impact made on the clean water crisis around the world. Shout out to H2All. Hey, let's give them 3. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Love you. Bye.